Jackson, Tess, and Bryce were three high school seniors whose time was mostly taken up by their shared love for video games, scary movies, and an amateur ability for photography, the third one being the forefront of their Sunday night. Jackson was currently driving all three of them to a nearby town, not too far from their own as time ticked closer to 11:30 p.m. It was dark out, and fewer cars could be seen on the roads as they came closer to the town chosen for their latest exploring adventure, which the trio were fond of doing in their free time, equipped with Bryce's trusty camera as well as their cell phones. Tess had seen on social media that some girls who resided in the town the friends were heading to had recently visited its local high school for a night of fun and thrills. The high school had been abandoned for almost 15 years, still standing, and always ominous. There had been a variety of tales told about the school over the years, kids that had ventured inside of its old and ghoulish walls and emerged frightened and spooked by whatever they believed they had seen and heard while there. But Jackson, Tess, and Bryce brushed off those stories as fiction, not convinced by them. They were making a trip to the school to simply take some pictures and videos of their exploring journey, which they had done before in many different locations. As the clock reached 11:40, the friends had come to a stop in Bryce's car, close by to the abandoned school they had planned to visit. It was quite the eerie sight to see, especially in the dead of night. The trio peered up at the huge, dated building through the darkness. It stood tall over them, looming in a way that sparked intimidation within Jackson, excitement for Tess, and a slight feeling of unease for Bryce. But they were all down for a night of adventure through the long-forgotten school hallways. As explained by the girls in the video that Tess had seen, others prior had forced the door open, so to gain entry and access to the building. It still remained open, or it had done when those girls had visited the silent school not long before the current trio. Not to their surprise, the door still remained ajar, and the friends made their entrance one by one with flashlights at the ready. They would be more reliable than the light from the cells. They had entered into what looked to have previously been the school's gym. The boys were shining their lights all around the damp and dirty walls that were covered with years of various forms of graffiti, some that looked to have been from around the time the school had closed, all the way to the present day. Tess noticed the decaying basketball boards and hoops, one of them hanging by a thread from the wall. Her shoes crunched over broken glass and scattered debris as she pulled out her cell phone to film her own content while the boys set up Bryce's camera. She thought she heard something, like a weird whiny noise, but quickly put it down to heightened senses due to the eerie atmosphere. The gym was left behind as the three friends moved into a creepy dark hallway, delving further into the depths of the school and seeing all of the strange and unexplainable things written and tagged on the walls. Old lockers hung open or lay discarded on the littered floor, and previous classroom chairs looked to have been thrown and abused by past visitors. "Let's go check out some old classrooms," Jackson suggested to the others, who agreed. But again, there was that whiny noise, Tess noted. So did the boys this time. It suddenly made sense to Tess now what it could be. "Is that a camera?" she said nervously. They wouldn't get the chance to visit those classrooms, at least, not at a leisurely pace anyway. All three of them jumped with fright when a loud bang rang out down the hallway they were traveling through. It wasn't far from them. It was scarily close, and it had heartbeats racing. It sounded like something had been thrown against the lockers in the same hallway the friends now stood in, panicked and alert. "What is that? Who's there?" Bryce called out through the thick blackness of the hallway. They all pointed their flashlights in the direction of the startling noise, but there was nothing. Nothing they could see. Tess insisted they keep moving. They should put distance between themselves and the bang that had caused them all to sweat with nerves. It was surely someone just trying to freak them out. That was Jackson's theory. It wouldn't be impossible or odd for other people to be there, whether it be exploring or causing trouble. But when an ear-splitting yell suddenly bounced off of the walls and lockers in the hallway, screaming aggressively for Jackson, Tess, and Bryce to get out, the trio automatically broke into a sprint and fled. It wasn't easy with the amount of garbage and debris cluttering the ground, but they tried to ignore the potential hazard it all posed, especially when that one singular bang suddenly turned into many. The friends were terrified as they hurried along another hallway. Someone was thrashing and attacking all of the lockers behind them, the noise of the chaos echoing all around. Whoever it was, they were angry and most likely violent. Tess and the boys needed to get out of that place, and fast. They would finally come to a door that was unlocked, and to all of their sheer relief, it brought them back outside, a different area to where they had started, but it wasn't going to stop them from reaching Bryce's car and fleeing. But when they got there, breathing hard and hands shaking with the fright of what just happened, what they all witnessed next sent awful chills down their three spines. Bryce had been fumbling for his car keys when Jackson saw it thanks to his flashlight. "Guys, look." He pointed with an unsteady finger to the tires of the car. They were flat. Tess frantically checked the other side. They were also flat. They were shaken to the core when Bryce noticed something under the wipers. Pictures, taken with the use of a Polaroid camera. They were all of the three friends, taken from inside the abandoned school, in the gym, and the hallway. Tess wasn't able to help crying as Bryce and Jackson peered at the photos in distress, realizing quickly that that had been the noise they had heard before that almighty bang against the lockers. That whiny high-pitched noise was the camera taking the photos of them. The next they knew, their eyes were simultaneously following a bone-chilling laughter, a cackle like that of a creepy clown. There, a short distance away from the car, but still closer to the school, was a figure. They looked to be wearing a long and dirty black coat, a sweatshirt underneath with its hood pulled up and over their head. They were just standing there, watching the friends in a stalkerish way. Tess and the boys began to back up with caution, but it would quickly turn into horrified sprint when the figure suddenly charged at them, shouting and screaming like they had done inside of the school. The friends ran and ran. They didn't stop, not until they were a considerable distance from the school and Bryce's damaged car. They ended up bounding through the doors of a nearby gas station, relieved when it seemed they were no longer being stalked and followed. They ultimately agreed to keep the night's events to themselves. They, prior to their frightful ordeal, hadn't believed stories told by other people about that school, so why would anyone believe them tonight? It would sound incredibly far-fetched, and they all knew that. Calming themselves, Tess acted as though they were there to buy something, and picked up a chocolate bar and a can of soda. They lingered there for some time, wanting to be sure that no one, at all, was following them anymore. It seemed the friends were eventually safe. When they finally left the gas station, trying to come up with a story so to explain Bryce's busted tires, none of the three noticed the dark figure lurking around the far corner of the building, watching all of them, waiting patiently to plot their next chilling move, whatever that was going to be.
That easily.